You dialed into the right place.
Let's go!
Now your host, Ryan Hensley.
What's happening, everybody? It's Friday. I got a special show for you today. You know the guy to my, what is that? That's to my, this is confusing, right? You're to my,
You're right. My left, your left. I don't even know. Let's not go down that road.
Yeah, let's not do that. So this guy's Grant Cohn. You know him. You know, I'm sure you guys know Cryssy Scuor as well. Welcome to the show, Crystal. First time on the channel.
Thank
live
you guys
from Italy.
Yes.
Live from Italy. Yeah. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. This is exciting. And Grant, so nice to see your face again.
It's been a while. You look great. How you doing?
I'm great. Yeah, living the dream, you know.
Are you fluent in Italian now?
Un poco, which means a little bit.
So you can get around. That's great.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, I've been here 2.5 years almost. So
Immersion.
My daughter was born here. I have to like try and figure it out. You know? Lots of that. Yeah.
Have to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't even know. So I'm ignorant. I didn't even know you guys worked together in the past when I invited you on, but I found that out afterwards.
Yep.
It's great. This is great.
Yeah.
Hey, Crystal, you're from Cali originally?
No, I'm from Canada, Vancouver, baby.
Wow. So real quick before we dive into the show, how'd you become a Niner? How'd you become a Niner fan? I'm curious.
Oh, I get asked this all the time, and I always hate giving him credit, but it was my ex-boyfriend. He was a huge 49ers fan. So obviously growing up in Vancouver, there's Seattle right below us. I always would go to the Seattle Seahawks games and cheer on the Niners whenever they were playing. And when we broke up, I decided to keep the team just because he was kind of a jackass. And I thought, you know what, I'll make them my own. And it's stuck with me for the last 14, almost 15 years now. And they're my team now.
You broke up with him. You didn't break up with the Niners.
Yeah, exactly. Who does, right?
You can't take that from me.
No, never.
No.
real quick before we dive in the shop.
He doesn't get the 49er.
No, I'm sure it pisses him off too that he sees I'm doing this kind of stuff, but
that's the best part. I love that.
Yeah.
Too much sauce. Before we dive in, says who's the biggest dog on the Niners? Greenlaw. I think that's probably the case. Yeah. I think we would.
Wishnowski.
Wishnowski.
He's second.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot to cover and not a lot of time, so I want to dive in ASAP with you guys, and I'll probably take care of most of these super chats at the end of the show because there's a lot of topics I want to go over. The first one is Kyle knew, apparently, Jed York. He said Kyle knew that Brock Purdy was the guy from the get-go. Grant, do you believe that?
I mean, can I say no without calling Jed York a liar? Is that okay? I don't.
Yeah.
It just felt like, I don't know. We're supposed to believe that the Niners knew first week of training camp that Brock Purdy was the best quarterback on the team. And he was throwing like 4 or 5 passes a day as the third stringer with Nate Sutton. They knew and didn't start him. Started Trey, then went to Jimmy. Like, in what world is that the way to handle things? It just feels like Jed trying to act like, hey, you know, we always see these things coming. We're never surprised. Man, you could admit that you were surprised. We were all surprised. I think Brock was surprised.
What do you think, Chris? Do you think they knew? And if they did know, shouldn't they have just started Brock at that point, or what? What's your take?
Okay, I'm indifferent. I think, okay, maybe he did know. Maybe there was a part of him that was watching things go on. And then they're like, you know what? We gave away the farm. We traded up to get Trey Lance. And maybe we'd look like big idiots if we decided to start this third string quarterback that we drafted with the last pick. So a part of me is wondering if they just thought, you know what, maybe we'll see how this pans out. We've got him in the background. We don't know how he would be anyways. Maybe Kyle thought, okay, yeah, he might be the best guy, but he might not be. So let's just let it be. At some point, if Jimmy goes in, you know that potentially the third stringer is going to go in because Jimmy wasn't the healthiest guy. We know that. And yeah, we didn't know how Trey Lance was going to pan out. So maybe they just thought, as we saw when we did trade Trey Lance away, how dumb they all looked for, you know, trading up to get that and sending him away. So I just think that they were kind of trying to save face a little bit. That's a part of me that's thinking, even if he knew, they didn't do anything about it because of that.
I completely agree with Cryssy. It would have looked so erratic to just be like, hey, guess what, guys? Brock Purdy starting week 1. People are like, what? Pardon? The last pick in the draft, rookie? Yeah, he's our best quarterback. So they couldn't do that. But look, let's say this is true. Okay? And they thought Brock was the best. Does that change the way you look at the way they use Trey Lance, does anyone care anymore? But if let's say they really knew Brock was the best and like deep down they wanted to get to Brock eventually, does that change the way you look at how they handled Jimmy? Like, because Jed said they handled it the right way. Like, what? They waited until the guys got hurt? What are you talking about? Just make the call. I don't know. What do you think?
It did make me. I mean, I sent some texts off to my friends. Like, do you see this? Does that make you wonder? Like, what? Maybe this is why they ran.
I don't know, but it makes you say one. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But no one cares. No one cares. He's a Cowboy. It's over.
Yeah.
Now Brock's here, and he's great.
He is doing great. He really is. Did you see? So Cam Newton's talking about, he's not a game changer. Andy Reid just came out and said he's a program changer, which is probably better than a game changer.
Smart Andy Reid, dude. That's the smartest thing Andy Reid could do. Praise Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
The next 2 weeks. Great player. Great player. Don't do that thing because the Niners like feed off of that. Oh, you don't believe in our quarterback? You don't think he's great? No, we think he's great. He's so good. He's so good. Got to do that.
Yeah.
Mind games.
Yeah. And to Brock's credit, he did change that program over there. So it is accurate, man. He's definitely, I would say he's a game changer for the 49ers. I would. He's changed the game over these last 12 months. Is much better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know. I know Crystal.
What was that laugh?
What was the laugh?
I mean, I'm laughing because I think I was very loud and proud about Jimmy Garoppolo, and I was always the person that was like,
a lot of people were.
Yeah, there's so many dubs with him, right? Like, but I mean, he won games. That's not a quarterback stat, but he did. You can't argue that fact. But yeah, now looking back, I'm like, man, this is what a real quarterback is meant to look like. And I look at some of the reasons that I would make up and excuses that I'd make up for Jimmy, and I'm not making those same excuses for Brock. And I see the way that Brock, he's able to change things around when the defense is having a bad game and be able to put the guys on their back and scramble, run like a little, road runner. I've never seen him do that before, and I've never seen Jimmy do that. So, I mean, to be able to see a quarterback that genuinely is like, no, this is on me now. I'm changing the game. I'm literally changing the game, putting these guys into the Super Bowl. He did that. And so, yeah, to me, he's a game changer, 100%.
The one time Jimmy Garoppolo tried to scramble like Brock, he blew up his knee.
Sad, but
non-contact. Sorry, but like he just wasn't built to be Brock. Brock is way better. And I think I focus a lot. People focus on his height and his arm. Like he could never be a first-round pick at 6 feet with that kind of arm. It's true, but Jared Goff is 6'4" with a strong arm. Who would you rather have? Which one's the game manager? Which one's the game changer? I think it's clear in 2024 you need that mobility that Brock has. You freaking need it. What quarterback stands in one spot and dices people up anymore? Not Mahomes.
Lamar does. I would say Lamar. Sorry, no.
He can, but he's moving.
Lamar is moving. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, no one's like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady anymore. Like, I don't move. I just stand right here and beat you. Like, that doesn't exist anymore.
No.
And Jimmy tried to be that. Like, you're a throwback to a time that doesn't exist anymore. You got to move, and Brock can move.
How about when the Vikings played the Niners and Kirk Cousins did it?
He was moving a little well in that game. I thought he was getting loose. I don't know. You're right. Kirk could do a little bit.
It can happen still, but
he's never going to the Super Bowl, though.
No.
Maybe next year on the Niners. I'm kidding.
Please don't.
Yeah, right.
I want to keep it moving because we don't got a ton of time, but I want to ask you about the championship mindset of Jed York. I guess this comes from actually Bill Walsh, somebody said, but Jed York, he said it like he said. He didn't quote Bill Walsh, but he said champions behave like champions before they're champions. Somebody said that's from Bill Walsh. I'm not familiar if it is or not. I'm not one to question Bill Walsh, but it does sound funny coming from Jed York. What's your take on that, Grant?
No, Chris, you go, Chris. You go.
I was going to say, I don't know if you obviously don't know the context of it. So like Bill Walsh, I guess, was talking to Jed York about this, and this was something that stuck with him. And it was a quote that came from Jed York back in 2018 when the 49ers beat the Broncos. I believe it was December 10th. And Tony York had just died on the Friday. So it was the Monday game. His brother had died on the Friday, and he was only 35 years old. Obviously, I'm going into my 35th year. So to me, it's like really emotional reading about it, just because it's such a speech that he gave to them, because that win was more than just, a win on the football field. It was a win for his brother. And he was talking to the locker room and just saying, like champions behave like champions before they're champions. This is what Bill had said, blah, blah, blah. Believe in this brotherhood because like you guys need to believe in yourself kind of thing. And it was a very motivational chat that he did for them because of how emotional he was feeling because of his brother's death. And then he went on to say, we're winning a ring and I'm going to make sure that my brother gets a ring out of it too. And so that's where that whole quote had come from. And I think that it's kind of popping back up just because this squad has kind of been that, behave like champions before you end up becoming the champions. They've all, definitely been exactly what he was meaning in that locker room back in 2018. So that's where I think that stemmed from. I don't know what you're going to say, Grant. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
I'm glad you did that. Thank you. Because I was going to say something really negative and you put some really good context there. So thank you.
It's good crystals here.
I was
just going to unload, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you, Cryssy. Thank you.
You go for yours now. Go for it.
All right, I'm going to go for mine. So, I mean, it's a nice quote and it comes from Bill Walsh. Who would know? And it's a great thing to say, but it's just... It's kind of funny coming from Jed, especially in that context. Like, you're saying it. So why aren't you doing it? And the way I would say is this whole press conference you're doing off the cuff right now before the Super Bowl isn't acting like a champion to me. You don't need to talk today. Kyle talked today. Bosa talked today. Warner talked today. They got this. This is their moment. It's not your moment. You talk after they win the Super Bowl. That's when you come through at the parade or wherever and be like, you know what? So proud of my guys. Just kind of want to remind everyone that I hired everyone here and I'm doing a pretty good. But after to do it before makes me kind of feel like he's a little nervous, like they're going to lose. Like, hey, man, I got to remind people right now we almost lost to the freaking Lions. I got to remind people right now that I'm a really good owner because I may not be able to take this victory lap in 2 weeks because we're playing Mahomes. It just comes across as lacking confidence. Wait. You've waited so long. Hold your horses. Don't go in front of everyone and start telling everyone, oh man, we knew about Brock Purdy day one. You still don't know about Brock Purdy. It's early. He's 24. Wait a second. What else did he say? Oh, I had to talk Kyle Shanahan into trading for Christian McCaffrey. Man, who needs to know that right now? That's for the off season. I thought it was kind of like act the way, if you're going to talk the talk, then walk the walk, man. You don't need to talk today.
Yeah, well, that was interesting to me to like kind of put Kyle on Front Street right there. Like Kyle didn't even want CMC. He thought it was too much. But me and John Lynch, we let him know. I thought it was weird and weird timing. I don't understand why he's doing this right now, honestly.
Real quick, did you guys realize that after Jed was not scheduled to talk? He just showed up. He was not part of the media schedule. After he spoke yesterday evening, the Niners revised their media schedule and added John Lynch to the roster today. He's talking today at 12:15. So to me, it's like, I don't know. Best guess, Jed owns the freaking team. He can talk whenever he wants to talk. He didn't run it by anyone. He just showed up and was like, here we go. I got some things I want to say. And everyone in the organization is like, he said this, he said this, he said this. We got to respond. Because so now, like when John Lynch goes out today, we're going to be like, hey, John, Jed said you guys knew day one that Brock was the best. How about, what do you think? Jed said that you and him talked Kyle Shanahan into trading for Christian McCaffrey. Is that true? Not even is it true. Give us the scene. Because obviously Jed York's telling the truth. Give us the scene. Otherwise, we would have had to wait till Super Bowl week for them to address it. Like, they have to address Jed going rogue. That's my best guess of what happened yesterday.
Yeah. Are you going to follow up? Are you following up, Grant, on that question today?
Oh, dude,
Please
we all are. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
That's what this is about. And John will be prepared.
I love it. Super Bowl weeks, man. Super Bowl weeks. Speaking of the Super Bowl, I want to ask you guys what your confidence level is going into this game against the Chiefs. Crystal, how do you feel about the 49ers headed into the Chiefs? What's your confidence level?
Okay, so I don't know level-wise, like what we're talking here. Are we talking level 1 to 10?
Yeah, let's do 1 to 10.
Okay, right now I'm maybe sitting at like a 7, let's say. I know this is the Chiefs. I get it. And I know this whole confidence thing, it changes every day. I look at some of the rough games that we had. Obviously, the Packers didn't look so great. The Lions, we had to come back from, a disheveled mess of what was happening with our team, especially last week. I mean, to see what they were doing in the first half of the game, a part of me was sweating it out. And I'm like, I don't know. I still had confidence in them. I thought, you know what? They're going to wow us. They're going to come back. It is what it is. And they did. But at the end of the day, we look at what happened in the 2020 Super Bowl. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes diced us up in the fourth quarter. They ended up putting 21 unanswered points, right? So I look at that and I'm like, This is Patrick Mahomes. This is a team that we have struggled with in the past when it mattered. But then I look at what we have right now. We don't have Jimmy Garoppolo. We have Brock Purdy. We have, the block king Kittle. Obviously, like, he stands out when it comes to, Travis Kelce and whatnot. I know Travis Kelce is elite and he's up there, but I'd still take Kittle. Then we've got Debo. Obviously, he's a game changer. When he wasn't playing, we ended up losing those 3 games alongside with Trent Williams. But then, we were able to get the win when Debo wasn't there with the Packers. So, I mean, obviously, then we've got Christian McCaffrey. So I look at the different pieces and I look at the run game that, Mahomes has. I wouldn't say it's as good as ours. I wouldn't say that they have, that upper hand on us there. I don't think that they do. I think when it comes down to it, it's going to be a shooting match between, Brock and him. And I think Brock has shown that he can step up and do what he needs to do. That being said, I really want our defense to show up. I want them to show out the way that we've seen it, because if they're not healthy, and then they're not playing at what we've seen them do, I am going to be a little less confident. Right now, I'm like, hey, yeah, they're all talking. We saw, who was it? Juszczyk and Christian McCaffrey were out in the sun playing golf, doing their thing. To me, they're just like chilling. They don't look like they even have a Super Bowl coming up, which is crazy. So I don't know. I think Kristen Juszczyk too. She's got some kind of swaggy outfit. They want to impress. They want to do their thing. Like, everybody's going to come firing in all cylinders. So I believe in the Niners. I'm pretty confident, but I'm putting myself at a 7 right now.
7. Grant, I feel like you're probably less than a 7.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how confident I am in them. It's like a 5. I mean, the Chiefs are really good. So they have like the best pass rush in football. They lost Charles Omenihu, but in terms of sack percentage, they were number 1. I mean, against the pass, they have really good corners, safeties, linebackers. So it just feels like it could be one of these games where the offense kind of psychs itself out and isn't really doing like the under center run game stuff. And like first play of the game, you see Brock's in the shotgun. You always know first play of the game, if Brock's in the shotgun, it's like, okay, it's going to be one of those games where he's throwing all these passes to the flat. Like, I'm thinking Philly, that first quarter, that was a disaster. And then the Ravens, the whole game, that was a disaster. There's that. So how's the offense going to match up with a dominant D-line? Are they going to try to be in the pistol and the shotgun all day, that kind of stuff? And then on defense, like the last time these teams faced each other, the Chiefs scored 44. Forget the Super Bowl. Last year, the team without Tyreek, it was a very similar team. We'll just throw some numbers at you. They rushed for 5.3 yards per carry and 3 touchdowns. Pacheco, 5.4 yards per carry. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 5.3. So they got whatever they wanted on the ground. And then Mahomes threw for 423 and 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Juju Smith-Schuster went for 124. And a touchdown. I think Rashee Rice is better than him. Kelsey went for 98. Marquez Valdez-Scantling had 3 catches for 111 yards. So in that game, Charvarius Ward was not 100%, but he played. Armstead wasn't out there. Hargrave wasn't on the team. Still, like, what are you going to do differently? What are you going to do differently? They freaking tore you apart. Was it that you were playing soft zone? You're going to play man coverage now? Like, they have to do something way different. And that was D'Amico. This is Steve Wilkes. Maybe he has a totally different game plan, but that's what I'm looking at. Like, you had no answers. No freaking answers against this offense the last time you faced it. It's not that different of an offense now. What are you going to do?
I'm a little nervous. I think I'm like a 5.1 right now, right? Like, I feel like the Niners are going to edge it out. I'm hoping. Maybe I'm just that's the homer in me talking, but I am a little worried. I mean, if you go through, seems like their defense is better. Their quarterback is definitely, no disrespect to Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes is better than Brock Purdy, and Andy Reid so far is 3-0 against Kyle Shanahan. So when I think about those things, it does scare the hell out of me, but something about this season makes me feel like the 49ers are going to pull it off. I'm hopeful they are, but I'd be lying if I said my confidence is much greater than a 5. I'm nervous about it. But hopeful, I guess, is the right answer.
Hard to feel super confident when you're going against Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's one thing if it were Lamar Jackson to be like, well, he's kind of inconsistent. The playoffs, had a lot of bad playoff performances, got a lot to prove. Niners outgained the Ravens. If they just don't turn it over 5 times, they might win. With the Chiefs, it's like, man, never beaten Patrick Mahomes. He's the best. It's hard to feel super confident,
but
even though the Niners have a better team than the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the past season, like, Mahomes actually wasn't the greatest quarterback. Obviously, we're looking at the playoffs now. He's been playing very well in the playoffs. He had 4 touchdowns to Purdy's 2 and 1 interception, right? So, I mean, playoff Mahomes is doing amazing. But, like, statistically, what we saw in the season, Purdy led with 69.4 completion percentage. Mahomes was 67. Like Mahomes
Real
threw
quick
less
though, Chrissy,
touchdowns.
was it that Mahomes wasn't playing well, or was it that his receivers are dropping like all of his not all of his passes, but hella passes?
Yeah, but what says that they don't do it again in the Super Bowl? Like,
True.
I mean,
It's
you
just they
can
haven't
put
been
it
doing it the
on.
last few games in the playoffs, but that doesn't mean that they won't revert. Could.
You never
They
know,
could.
right? Like, and that's the
Yeah, it's
thing.
true.
Like, I think it's a game that it could go literally either way. And so part
That's
of me, yeah, my confidence is up when everything's firing and it needs to. And like, yeah, of course it's Mahomes. Don't count him out. And I'm saying that. I'm not sitting here saying Purdy's better. I'm just saying statistically, he was better this past season overall. So I'm not sitting here putting Purdy down and lifting up Mahomes. I think that even like the teams are pretty even. It depends who comes to play.
Okay,
Yeah.
one more question for Miss Confidence over here. Since
Mhm.
we're the skeptical ones. The fact that the Chiefs defense made Lamar Jackson look, frankly, terrible last week. What does that do to your confidence?
Well, how many times has Lamar Jackson been to the Super Bowl?
Oh, snap.
None.
Yeah,
snap.
I mean, how
I
many
like
times
the
has he been
answer.
really? How many times has he won playoff games? I mean, he's got Purdy has more playoff wins than Lamar Jackson. So, I mean, I'm still going with my guy. I think that they hold a better flame to a candle, or whatever that saying is when it comes to them. I think it's a way more even matchup. The Ravens had us on Christmas Day. I'll give them that, but I think it was just a really bad day for us. And that's what I'm saying. They need to come to play. If they don't come to play, yeah, we might get that same version. If they do, I think that we blow them out of the water.
Respect.
Wow. Lamar Jackson, though.
Thank you.
One thing about the Ravens, though, I don't think they approached that game properly. The Ravens, right? They kind of abandoned what they've been doing all year when it comes to running the ball. So I feel like that was partially because of the Ravens lost their identity in that game against the Chiefs. I don't know if the game might have been different otherwise. And the thing that scares me about this game too is I've been saying all postseason I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes, and now it's the Super Bowl, and that's what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm hopeful. I guess I'm just nervous as a Niner fan that we're gonna have a similar fate that we have in previous. But thank God Crystal's here to keep us optimistic.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Isaiah Pacheco. To me, it's like that guy. The Chiefs have changed a lot the last month or so. They were losing. They lost to the Raiders. And ever since then, like they've been really running the ball a lot. They use these 2 tight end, 3 tight end formations. The Lions had success with that against the Niners. Going into the Lions game, we were all thinking, man, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's going to get to the outside. They can't stop him. No. It was Montgomery between the tackles in these big, heavy formations that Wilkes didn't really match up with. He was like, I'm just going to throw my wide 9 against it and see what happens. Like, you got road graded. So now the Chiefs can do the same thing with the runner who runs even harder than David Montgomery. And you can't really load the box against the Chiefs. Or you could. I mean, it's up to you. Like, unless you want to dare Patrick Mahomes to throw it deep, you could do that. Most teams don't. And it's hard to stop Pacheco with 7 in the box. So that's why I think this Chiefs team's kind of tough. It's a way different team than the Niners face in the Super Bowl. Like, they're a physical run team that's counting on you to hang back and be scared of Mahomes, even though he doesn't really have those weapons to throw it deep to.
Defense is better than ever. Yeah, that's why I'm nervous. I'm hopeful, but nervous. I think I should probably hit some of these super chats and not save them to the end. That way we can get through them all. Let's see. Drewish guy says, how big of a deal is it that Charles Omenihu is out? I think it's a pretty big deal. He's a good pass rusher. Unfortunate for him, ACL. Yeah, it's huge, right?
Huge. Big part of what they do. They still have a really good D-line, but he's a really good pass rusher. The Niners miss him a lot. He's really good.
I was going to say, we miss him.
Big difference maker for the 49ers. James Wells, $5 super chat says, Ellen Zuckerberg, Jed York, a compilation of billionaires saying dumb stuff into a mic. Appreciate it, James. Black Pill Phil says, without Omenihu, the Chiefs are lights on the front 7.
Light on the front 7.
Light on the front 7, very susceptible to the run. If the 49ers commit to the run, they win. Buffalo and Baltimore abandon the run game, and that's part of why they're home. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, Baltimore definitely didn't stick to what they've been doing all year that got them there in that last game. So
yeah, but why'd they abandon the run? Because Kansas City put 8 in the box and they like countered. And Kyle will do that sometimes. If you load up to stop his run game, he'll say, "Oh, okay, well, we got us. Then the pass is open. We got to take with the D." Be careful with that, man. He did that against Baltimore. Baltimore statistically was weak against the run, good against the pass, and he came out passing against Baltimore, and they threw 5 picks.
Yeah,
just saying. Harbaugh's the one who takes with his strength no matter what. Kyle's the one who's always trying to like outthink you. Oh, you think I'm going to do this? Well, I'm going to do that in your face.
And Justin Reed, I'm telling you, he's a scary guy for this game. We'll talk about him more when we get to the game change stuff. Tyler Cressley, what's up, Tyler? Says, Grant, here's my problem with Jed. He admitted that he wasted time not developing Purdy last year. Well, here's my thing, too, is like if Purdy was better and maybe you lost a game, maybe you lost that Broncos game, maybe you lost that Bears game because you weren't playing your best quarterback, and maybe you could have had the number 1 seed last year, and you could have won a Super Bowl last year if you knew Purdy was better. I mean, that was kind of my point.
Here's my question to you guys, and you don't have to answer it because we're live on camera, but do you really think that conversation happened between Kyle Shanahan and Jed? Like, do you really think that happened? I don't know.
It seems cheesy.
I guess
I don't know. There's something a little weird about it, right? Like, it seems a little cheesy.
I want to ask Kyle, hey, Kyle, just flesh out the scene for us. Where were you? Was it rainy? Was it sunny? Yeah. Take us there. Because this is one heck of a story, but I need more.
It's a little different from what we heard because they're also saying that Kyle was basically stomping the table to draft Brock Purdy, and people were mad at him for it. And we've heard the opposite up until now, right? We heard it was Brian Griese and Slowick that wanted him.
You know what I don't like? All these different competing narratives, competing for credit before the Super Bowl. Like, wait. Stop trying to take credit for this thing, man. You haven't won the Super Bowl yet. I found Brock. I found McCaffrey. Cool. You haven't won anything yet. I hate that culture of the Niners, and it comes from Jed. I always wonder, it's Jed, man. It's Jed's insecurity and Jed's need to be like his uncle. Like, nah, man, your uncle was 5-0 in the Super Bowl. If you lose this one, you'll be 0-3, and that'll be your legacy. The opposite of Eddie D. So I'm sorry, I still can't get over yesterday. It was so much fun. And that's how you got to cover a team. That wasn't on the freaking schedule. You just got to go. And then crazy stuff happens. You're standing there like, what? And then he gets that question about local politics that he wasn't prepared for, which was a perfectly fair question because honestly, that's his job. He wanted football questions. Why? You're not a coach. You're not a player. Well, okay, here's a football question. What's cover 3? Explain that. Explain zone blocking, Jay. Like, we got a football question talking about.
Were you in the room, Grant?
Huh?
Were you in the room?
Yeah. I was right in front of him. I filmed the whole thing. It's just unbelievable. I love stuff like that. Like, why are you doing this? And no one can tell you no. It's a bad idea. He's standing there with his like chest hair coming out. He's trying to act like he's one of the guys. Like, it was like we were at a bar. Hey, man, let me tell you a story about me and Kyle. Like, there are cameras here. What are you talking about? What? Thank you.
Norman Cox says she's cute for $1.99. She's in Italy. You got to drop more than $1.99 to impress.
Can't believe you wrote.
Unlike the Lions, I got a ring, right? So
if you're gonna shoot your shot, you got to drop more than $1.99, sir. All right, let's see. Jeff,
he read the name, didn't even know
it. Jeff Caravella says Wilkes has made decent adjustments, and Shanahan stops trying to be clever in the second half only. What do they need to do to execute immediately rather than wait until it's almost too late? Who wants to take that one? What do they need to do immediately? And Wilkes, right? Because Wilkes has made adjustments always at halftime, a little slow. Shanahan stops trying to be clever in the second half. So he's asking, how do they get out the gate quickly against the Chiefs, which is probably necessary?
I honestly feel like they need to run the ball right away. Run the ball with McCaffrey, get a couple easy touchdowns, like put up some points rather than have us always playing from behind. I feel like the last little bit we've had to rely on the defense, and then the defense doesn't step up, and then it's the offense having to carry the team. And I feel like my time as a fan, I've always been like, the D is the best part about our team. You know what I mean? So to have it the other way around, it's almost kind of weird for me. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel normal. But like, I want the D to come out and do their thing and stuff them right off the bat, not let them have any kind of easy touchdowns right away, and have our guys like, boom, boom, we got 2 touchdowns right off the bat. You know what I mean? Like, that'll feel good to me. I don't know what Wilkes has been doing, but do the opposite, whatever that is. Like, do the opposite.
Just do the opposite of what you've been doing. Yeah. All right. Brother Bob says, Iglet and Ryan, Mofo, OG, Hensley, sup, Crystal, sup, Brother Bob.
I get to answer the question. I didn't get to answer the question.
I apologize. Real
quick. I think on offense, I think this has to be a Debo game. I mean, I know like Ayuk's been the guy all year, but this is a really good pass rush. Ayuk runs deeper routes. They have really good corners. It might be a little dangerous forcing the ball downfield to Ayuk. Like that's how the interception could come. But with Debo, those are really safe passes. Those are screens. And frankly, like as a receiver, I think he's more dangerous than Rick McCaffrey. McCaffrey's a great running back, better running back than Debo. But when it comes to throwing to someone like on a swing pass or a screen pass, throw to Debo. He was really good in the NFC Championship game. They didn't really use him enough in the Super Bowl 4 years ago or the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. I think this got to be a big Debo game. And then on defense, they can't wait until halftime to figure out how to stop the run game. Can't happen. You can't play 30 minutes of defense against the Chiefs. You have to have a really good plan. It's got to work. And if it's not, you got to fix it like in the first quarter. And also, what was it they talking about effort on defense in the NFC Championship? You heard that yesterday?
Yeah,
Fred Warner,
wild.
Bosa being like, yeah, man, we just weren't running our hardest or really. I don't know why. It's like,
why
it's
not?
the NFC Championship. You had back-to-back bye weeks. What are you talking about? So that can't be an issue. And they even said like the key to the game is defensive line stamina. I wonder if when Kyle said that in team meeting, he just stared right at Chase Young like, this is the key. Running hard all game. Chasing hard. Yeah. Your name is Chase.
Yeah.
Not follow casually.
Brother, we ain't losing. Bob says, hold this foot to the fire and watch Lynch touch his head. I'm gonna need just make it a $5 super chat and then we can type it out, bro. Brother Bob
Am
says,
I wrong in assuming that John is coming out today because he needs to respond to some of the things Jed said?
He's doing management.
That's what it is.
Some fires out.
Yeah.
Hey, because I don't want. It's like I don't want Jed to have the last word on these things. I have to have the last word. I'm the face of this team. I'm the voice of this team. I have to have the last word. That's what I would do if I were John.
Brother Bob is a roundtable. I'm roundtable material. Guess I need a pro mic and camera. Yeah, brother Bob, you're welcome. You're welcome. Come on Saturday, man. He says I can wear a hat and shirt on screen. Niner stuff, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Richie James and Mooney Ward switch teams.
That'll be the difference.
Yeah. Had to get on my laptop because Crystal said we blowing the Chiefs out. Wow, you bold, but I see 34-27 assist Mahomes, who Kyle didn't scout. He's kind of great. Also says stop trying to save our $1.99. Shame our $1.99 super chats. They add up. They do. They do, Bob. And I appreciate you, man. Sean O'Leary, Kyle got asked about defensive effort on plays yesterday. Did anyone ask him a follow-up about piss poor tackling? Been looking back at early midseason games. They rallied and wrapped. Now shoulder toss tackles. Sean O'Leary. Anyone asked that?
No, I mean, Grant? It's fair to point out that Steve Wilkes is a defensive back, has a defensive back's background. So he's all about coverage, and he's done a great job with Lenore and Ambry Thomas and Jair Brown. But D'Amico and Robert Saleh were linebackers coaches and former linebackers, and they brought a different type of mentality to the defense. Maybe that's what we're seeing.
Yeah. Freddie Nito. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Mahomes overrated. Crazy how people talk about him. Dude had 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in the first 2 Super Bowls. Mahomes is overrated?
He's not.
He's not.
He's not. He's not.
Wilkes.
And if he wins on next Sunday, you won't be saying he's overrated.
Wilkes, Double Kelsey, Ward, Shadow Rice, and Rush 5. I'm worried about rushing 5 against Mahomes. I don't know if I agree necessarily.
Well, there's something to that, though. There's something to that. Because when you rush 5, it's tougher to scramble. You take away one of the gaps. I mean, you got to be disciplined and not rush past the guy. But I think what you're saying is I'm not scared of your receivers at all. In a double Kelsey, we're going to play everyone else man to man. And we're going to win these matchups. Freaking Marquez Valdez-Scantling. But I don't know. We'll see. Like, he did go for 111 against the Niners last season. He did. Yeah. Rasheed Rice is pretty good. Like, we'll see.
Last season, the 49ers, when they played the Chiefs during the regular season, they left him. They brought the safeties up, and he just destroyed the 49ers. So, yeah, it scares me a little bit. Yeah, we'll see. Jeff says, great answers earlier. All thank you. Kyle needs a mental game coach. His obsession with trying to prove he doesn't need CMC is a fatal flaw. That's because he didn't want to trade for him. It was Jed York. Well, I'm just kidding. Run the ball,
I
Kyle.
don't trust him either. So me and Kyle have that in common.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys were on the
I
same
didn't
page.
like it.
Yeah. Bucket of chicken. Run the ball, Kyle. Travis Coakley, current 49ers team beat any past Super Bowl Niners teams. Ask me after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man.
Mm.
Yeah.
Until they win a Super Bowl, they're in the class with the 2012 team and the 2019 team.
Sad.
Yeah.
True.
One more
Sorry.
here, and then we're going to dive back into the show. Johnny Chisari says, Grant, Ryan, good morning. And Crystal, Johnny, no
Yeah.
need to overthink this. CMC needs 25 plus touches and get the hell out of the way. Chiefs run D is 18th versus run.
I don't think it's that
Expose
simple. I mean, yeah, you want to empty the tank with Christian McCaffrey, but what about Debo too? Like, I think he can't be an afterthought in this game. He was so good in the NFC Championship game.
Question though, has anybody talked shit from the Chiefs to Debo? Because I feel like that definitely helps him.
It's a
Was
motivation.
there anybody that went on a live?
Andy Reid praised Brock Purdy. I don't think they're going to make that mistake. These are champions. They know what they're doing. The Lions were so
Champions
embarrassed.
behave like champions, right?
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, what are you doing? Oh, yeah. Good call. See, they do.
Yeah.
Let me ask you
Chauncey
this. I was
Gardner-Johnson waving goodbye.
I have my good friend, our good friend, the coach on the show, and he was talking, kind of making the case. And I took a poll on Twitter. I'm curious what you guys think, but he says this season's pretty much already a success. I love you, Coach. But I'm just curious, aside from Coach's opinion, what do you guys think? Is the season already a success, regardless of whether they win the Super Bowl or not? And I took a poll on this. I'm curious. What do you think? Let's start with Grant. I'll start with you, Grant. What do you think fans said? What do you think fans said in response to that poll? Do you think the 49ers have to win a Super Bowl for the season to be a success, or is it already a success? And then I want to get your
fans want the Super Bowl. I think fans would say, no, they got to win the Super Bowl, which is probably an emotional thing to say. I mean, it's not a disaster if they lose in the Super Bowl. Losing to the Lions NFC Championship, I think, would have been a disaster. But losing to the Chiefs, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, it wouldn't be a disaster. It would hurt Kyle's legacy. It would hurt Jed York's legacy, but I don't think you're firing anyone. You don't say like, oh, well, we got to get rid of Brock Purdy now. Freaking guy couldn't win the Super Bowl. Like, bum. I don't think so. Couldn't beat Patrick Mahomes. What a loser.
Well, I mean, Jed said is basically didn't Jed say it's a success whether they won that Packers game or not?
He said that?
Yeah. He said the season's already a success whether they won the game. Was it the Packers game, Grant, or was it the Lions game that he said it doesn't matter if we would have won that game the season? Yeah, okay. So the Lions,
the Packers game though. That one came down to that was a nail biter.
But like I think that's strange though, like to say it's already a success whether you win this game or not. I mean, that doesn't. I don't think Jerry Jones feels that way. Not that Jerry Jones is.
They've never made it this far.
Right.
Hey, that's what I felt about Jed York coming out and talking before the Super Bowl. I was like, this is exactly what Jerry Jones would do. Oh, hey, everyone, we're getting some attention. Let me put myself right in the middle of it because I don't know how long it's going to last. And I love the attention. Like, don't be like Jerry Jones. He's a loser. A freaking loser. Everything about him.
What do you think,
know what I mean? Like, he's in it for all the wrong reasons. Let me get attention. Let's get some money. Let's get some, like, why don't you get a Super Bowl ring for the first time in 30 years, Jerry? Don't be like him.
What do you think, Crystal? Is this season a success even if they don't win a Super Bowl, or do they need to win it?
So I'm echoing a little bit of what the fans are saying. Obviously, it's out of emotion too, because for me, I've witnessed 2 Super Bowl losses, and it sucks, it hurts, it whatever, But I'm also very optimistic. You guys know this, and I feel pretty euphoric looking at this team and where they've come from and this past season and everything. Even in that 3-game stretch where we lost, I thought, you know what, this isn't defining us at all. They're going to come back. This is something that in his second season. First full season as a starter, Brock Purdy's able to go to the Super Bowl. That's pretty successful. If you're looking at just stats, if you're looking at quarterbacks that have been able to do this, let alone comparing any of the Mr. Irrelevants that have been able to do this, there's no quarterback that has done this. That was a Mr. Irrelevant. The only other Mr. Irrelevant that's won a Super Bowl was Ryan Suckup, the kicker. So, I mean, for me, it's successful because maybe we found our guy. And for me to be able to look at a team and not feel this deep pit in my stomach when I'm watching our quarterback step up to play, that feels nice. To me, that's a success. To be in a Super Bowl in this season, it's successful for sure. Of course, I want to get the win. I want to get the dub. I want to be able to be like, suck it, Chiefs, like pay them back for what they did to us in the 2020 Super Bowl. Of course, I want that. But I still think you can't say it's not a success. It's been a success for sure.
Could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Have you or will you get a Brock Purdy tattoo?
Yeah. I actually made a bet. So I did this the last time when Jimmy Garoppolo took us to the Super Bowl. I'm like, Jimmy wins us the Super Bowl, I'm going to get him a tattoo. And then everyone online was like, you have to do it even if he doesn't win. So I'm like, yeah, I will. And I did. I ended up getting, what was it? Feels Great Baby
Feels
tattooed
great,
on me.
baby.
Yeah. So it's under my butt, which is kind of funny. It's funny placement, whatever.
Hilarious.
So I did say at the start of the season, I'm like, Brock Purdy, I think is going to take us to a Super Bowl. He has. And I'm like, and when he does, I have a tattoo already lined up. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm not going to put it in the same location. It's going to be a different location because I just feel like Brock Purdy is so wholesome. And you know what I mean? It's a different vibe with Brock Purdy. He doesn't deserve to be there. So he's got a little fiance. It's a different vibe. So yeah, I do have a tattoo already lined up and ready to go. And I think, because I don't know if you know this, Grant, I'm flying to Vegas to watch, not the Super Bowl, but be at watch parties during the Super Bowl. So I'm going to be there for the Super Bowl. And then we'll see. Maybe on the Monday when I'm there, I go get the tattoo. If it happens.
Wow.
I'm not doing this whole thing if it doesn't happen again. It only if it happens, I'm doing it.
You got to like make a vlog about that one.
Oh, 100%.
You got to get someone. Oh yeah, for sure. Everyone, yeah. You understand.
Grant,
You know the
Grant, what would it take to get for you to get a? What did Brock Purdy have to do for you to get a Brock Purdy tattoo?
I'm Jewish. We don't do tattoos.
That's the out right there.
Yeah, I'm a deeply religious person, so I don't.
That's the out. That's the easy. That's the good. Convenient.
Sorry, man.
All right.
There's not that many of us left. I gotta be faithful. You know what I'm saying? I got my bar mitzvah. We get no tattoos.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, guys. I want to ask you about this game changers, but I want to get your take on who's going to be a game changer for this game. We know the obvious ones, but I'm just kind of curious. Also, I want to get your take on this tweet I put out. I think George Kittle, if he was on the Chiefs, I think he would do everything that Kelsey does and more. I think he's more talented. He's faster. He's more athletic. I think the only thing Kelsey may be better at, look at Grant laughing. The only thing that Kelsey may be better at is hands, maybe. Yeah, his hands might be better. But I think George could do all that other stuff. Kelsey has a lot more freedom. He's playing with Patrick Mahomes. He's the focus of that offense. I think if you put Kittle over there in that same scenario, he would have similar success, if not more. I know Grant. I feel like Grant doesn't agree.
No, Chris, you go first. I don't want to go negative all the way. I don't start with the negative.
Chris, all right, Chris. Yeah, and you don't have to respond to this.
I'm just assuming.
You don't have to respond to this either, but I'm curious about your game changers and if you want to respond to the Kittle versus Kelsey thing.
Okay, which one do you want me to comment on first? The Kelsey
Both.
one?
Yeah,
Both?
whatever.
Okay, so let's start with, obviously, I'm going to go Kittle's better than Kelsey. Now, I'll give Kelsey the upper hand on a couple things. Obviously, he's been in the season longer. He has a bit more, in the league longer. He's a bit more games under his belt. He obviously has a quarterback that's a little bit more, they've got that connection that they've earned through these years. There's definitely the experience behind him. But I know I saw your poll and everything, and I actually saw that you put up, because of the blocking, that's where Kittle kind of stands above. And I definitely agree. I think that had Kittle not been all over Aiden Hutchinson in the game against the Lions, maybe we wouldn't have won that game. He pancaked the hell out of him, which was beautiful to see. I don't think Kelsey does that. I'm sorry. I think Kelsey's a lot of talk and whatever, but he doesn't really back it up. I also think this could get me in, hot waters with the Swifties and everything, but he whines a lot. He goes on his podcast and he whines about the media, talking about his players and doing this, and that. And I think that on the flip, Kittle's there and he's, he goes on the Pat McAfee show and he's, praising all his guys and he's being fun and wholesome and whatever. And I think that he brings the good vibes. I know his sister's a yoga teacher. He does these breathing techniques with them. Like, I think he has a better handle on the team when they're not looking so hot. And I think that says a lot about a player too. So when you're winning, great. Yeah, you've got a guy like Kelsey. We're winning. We're cocky. We're everything. That's who Kelsey is. But when they're losing, they whine, they bitch, they look for the refs to give them calls. I've never seen that with the 49ers. I think that's where Kittle has the edge. Kittle comes in and he gives them the woosah. It's the kumbaya vibes around the campfire. He's always trying to inspire them. He even said that thing to Brock Purdy, all the players. He's like, yeah, we're going to go around and say this is, what was it? What was the quote that he said about the first half? Oh, they had us in the first half, right? And he's going around and joking with everyone because that's just who he is. And I think that instead of crumbling, he rises to the occasion and motivates the guys around him. I don't think Kelsey does that. That's where I think there's a big difference.
All right, Grant.
Okay, they're different. You could sort of call Travis Kelsey like a wide receiver. He doesn't block much. And if you're saying like who's a better tight end, You might give the nod to George Kittle and just say he's more of a traditional tight end, where Kelsey's something different. I'll take Kelsey, man. Here's the thing about Kelsey. If you look at his numbers in the playoffs, receiving numbers, catches, yards, touchdowns, it's him and Jerry Rice all time. He's that good of a receiver. Like, it's not just hands. His route running is incredible. He doesn't even run traditional routes. He just sort of wings it. And Patrick Mahomes knows where he's going to be. Like, and he doesn't just do that. He's the focal point of their passing game. It's not like teams are game planning to stop anyone else. Kittle was that a while ago, but he hasn't been that in a long time. I don't think he's anywhere near the route runner that Travis Kelce is. That being said, if he were on the Chiefs and you got Kelce out of there, I think Kittle's numbers would be way better. I think he could do a lot of the things that Kelce does. And I do think he's a little underutilized on the Niners because they have a lot of other weapons and Kyle has his idea of how to use them. And I think Reed would use them way differently. But there is something special about Travis Kelce, the way he moves, the way he is as a receiver. He's an all-time great receiver. But is he an all-time great tight end? I mean, yeah, he plays that position, but he doesn't block. He's not a blocker.
Right.
Still.
Which is part of it. And he has that freedom, right? I feel like he has the freedom to, he doesn't even run routes really. He just runs to an open spot. Kittle's tried that a couple of times, but really Kyle Shanahan's not allowing that. So I just think it's a different of the systems, but I think Kittle's more athletic. He's stronger. He's a better blocker. He's just more talented than Kelce is. They're both great. Don't get me wrong. I just think Kittle could do everything Kelce has done and more. Honestly, I think the only thing where Kelce really has a real advantage is he does have really good hands. Kittle tends to catch with his chest, according to Brock Purdy. And I've started noticing that after Brock Purdy said that. But other than that, I think Kittle's better, man. But I'm curious.
Kyle's always kind of dogged Kittle for his route running. If you've ever listened, he's kind of dogged him. They scheme Kittle open a lot.
Kyle's real specific with what he wants. And I think Andy Reid's more flexible in that regard. But outside of the tight ends, though, game changers. Who's going to be the game changer in the Super Bowl for both teams, Crystal?
Okay, so I do echo what Grant was saying in the beginning. I think Deebo Samuel has that fire in him, especially from what we saw in the NFC Championship game. When he gets going, he's 100% a game changer. Things we see, Kyle even gets flustered when Deebo's not in there. Like, things just change. Deebo definitely brings a different level to the table. I know CMC, like, everybody's probably going to be watching him, so I don't know if he's fully going to be the game changer. I think they utilize him the same way, but he's going to do his thing like he always does. I think this comes down to Brock Purdy. I don't know. I'm one of those people that's like I said in the beginning, it's going to be a shooting match. And if Brock Purdy has a point to finally step up and just show everybody and like finally sit everybody down and just be like, look, stop talking all this crap that you're talking on me. Like, I can take a team and put them on my back. We saw a little bit of it last week. I think that he does the same thing this week. I think he puts up big numbers against Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to be our game changer for us. I don't want to say that the defense is going to have a sleepy game again, because I want to believe they're going to be, Fred Warner's going to be that, we only need to score three points and we're going to win. That confidence is what I want from him and I need from him, but I don't know if they're going to be at that level. So I don't know if anybody on the defense is going to be the game changer. Obviously, we're going to probably see a couple sacks, maybe. I'm hoping from, Bosa. Maybe Chase Young does something and shuts everybody up. But I think for them, their game changer, Grant was saying it too earlier, Pacheco is scary, I think, if he gets going. But Rashee Rice, I had him on a couple fantasy football teams too, and he's always been one of those guys that, like, I think he's a little sneaky and he gets out there and he does a thing. So he could definitely have a game. I don't know about Kelce. Kelce, we might be, looking at Kelce the whole time and then somebody else is going to get in there. So I don't know if Kelsey's going to have that game. But yeah, I think it's going to be a Deebo game and probably a Pacheco game.
Grant, I know we got to get you out of here pretty quickly, but who's the game changer for you, man? And then I got some super chats to go through. Yeah,
I think she said Purdy. It's Purdy, but I'm not going to go with the quarterback. Obviously, the quarterback. Someone other than the quarterback. Nicholas Bosa. Nick, dude, you had a good game in the NFC Championship game. You haven't gotten sacks. You had a good game in the NFC Championship game, but against the Chiefs, Andy Reid, and you know it. He talked about it the other day. He's really exposed you. He's made you look bad, and you're not bad. You're great. So you got to be great in this game, man. Against the run, against the pass, they ran at you. They confused you with jet sweeps and all kind of stuff. You got to be on it. You know what they're going to do. You have to be a catalyst for their victory. Like, it's got to come down to you, Nick. You got to be great in this game. The D-line as a whole has to be great, but he has to lead the way. Otherwise, you're going to lose.
Yeah, I got two is Fred Warner and Gibson. I think they're going to be sharing a lot of responsibility on Travis Kelce, and that's going to be a huge part of stopping the Chiefs. So I'm going to go with those two guys, man. But let's get these super chats going. Fred Nito says Mahomes is great at extending plays. If his receivers aren't wide open, he's pretty mediocre. Mahomes worries me about as much as Dak worries me. That's a crazy take, Fred Nito.
Yeah.
I'm being real, dude. That's a wild take. Brother Bob. Iglet, thanks for understanding my defensive strategy. Also says losing the Super Bowl is a disaster, but no need to fire though.
Yeah.
Fire though. Okay. Load the box, stop the run, and hope Mahomes receivers drop passes. I think that's the plan.
Yikes. Yikes,
Right.
yo. Hey, man. Good luck. Good luck. Because they haven't been recently.
It's an interesting strategy. Money in Vegas on KC to win. House always wins, right? I thought it was on the Niners to win. Did it change recently? Because weren't the Niners?
I don't know what the
It was
money.
Niners
I don't
favorite.
know. I don't know. I mean, the odds. Niners are -2, but maybe more people are. I mean, I would take the points.
Yeah. Brother Bob, what are we doing? What are we doing right here with these super chats? I'm gonna skip that one. That's a nice Niners hat. Crystal, is it tight? No, it's what? Crystal, please get this right. You confident and Moody. Moody might be a game changer in this one.
That's what I was gonna say too. Is one of those things that every time he steps up to kick the ball, I'm like, oh my god, like I don't even want to look. And I haven't felt that way since Jimmy Garoppolo. So you know what? He is somebody I don't have a lot of confidence in, and I'm hoping that like the big game, the bright lights doesn't put him down, and maybe he proves everybody wrong. He could be definitely the game changer for us. We need him to step up. Wear the golden boot. We need channel Robbie Gold, make those kicks, do your thing. Money Moody, baby.
Game comes down, 5 seconds left. Jake Moody takes the field to win it for the 49ers. How you going to be feeling about that one? That's going to be nerve-wracking.
Taking a tequila shot. That's what's going to happen.
Super Bowl MVP, Jake Moody. You guys, man, great to have both of you on. I know both of you guys got to get going, so I'm going to wrap this up, but it's good to see both of you. Crystal, hopefully we can get you back on again. Grant, as always, brother, I'll see you next week. You'll be in Vegas, right?
Yeah, and real quick, Washington, I'm going to be doing a show like immediately right after this in 3 minutes on my channel with Tom Jensen, who writes for my website, All 49ers, but he's just getting started in the content creator game. I haven't done a show with him yet, so check it out. Cryssy, good to see you.
Tom is super smart. Super smart. Crystal, good to see you. Thanks, Grant. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, guys.
Bye.